Hello and welcome to Theme Park Information, and for the first video I've done for quite a while. This video is solely about what makes a roller coaster really quite rubbish. So let's look at several categories and why that really affects how well the roller coaster operates and leads to very disappointing rides for myself and the rest of the general public. Thing number one is the roller coaster has an awful capacity. Now the capacity is how many people can go on said roller coaster in the space of, let's say, an hour. Typically roller coasters have a throughput of about 1,000 people per hour, which is reasonable. It means they can have a fairly long queue and you won't queue that long for the ride. Now obviously that capacity can be slightly hampered if the roller coaster only runs one train, but some roller coasters are forced to run one train, like G-Force at Drayton Manor, which has one train of 12 seats. It has no other train, there's no way of putting one on because the track is too short. That means it has an awful throughput because not enough people can get on the ride in a good time, which means it has a long wait most of the time, and most of that time you're standing stationary. Let's have another look at another topic which really ruins a roller coaster, and that is usually the length. Now in fact G-Force is once again kind of culpable at this, but quite a few roller coasters have a poor track length and such, which leads to short rides. You could even argue rides like South at Fort Park, which is actually really short. I mean, in fairness, it's high octane entertainment, but it's a short ride. It's it's a real kind of downgrade to the sort of track length it should actually have. What also could make a ride incredibly rubbish is its restraint system to keep you stuck in your seat. And once again, G-Force is going to come into this. It's not the only one, but that has an incredibly uncomfortable wide lap bar, which through any of the inversions just properly digs into your thighs. It's so uncomfortable, so painful, not worth it. I mean, another example would be Stampeder at Portaventura, which shows how important having correct padding is on a ride, especially a wooden roller coaster, because literally that is beat the hell out of you the ride. As far as I'm concerned, your legs, your stomach, your knees, your feet, they get given an absolute pounding on that ride. It really is poor. It's a shame because it could be quite a good running roller coaster, but when you connect that and the next point, which is roughness, into the equation, and just really terribly designed track, which seem to really encourage this sort of kind of sudden jerky movement. I've said before that this sort of stuff can happen on really good rides. For example, like the Helix on Colossus at Heidi Park is awfully painful because of the track. It's really poorly done and it really suffers, but at least the whole ride isn't like that. Most of the ride's excellent, so there is like that sort of kind of saving grace for that ride. But something like Stampeder has no real saving grace. It's literally just very painful throughout the entirety of the ride. It's a little bit like when that is mixed with exceptional speed as well, you could end up with a great discomfort, like Furious Baco at Portaventura as well. That is a ride which is actually quite good fun and quite enjoyable, but because of the restraint system, the way it kind of clips the top of your shoulders, if you ride it too much you can end up, and I did end up with some bruising along the very top part of my shoulder, which was a little bit sore and painful. But then you look at something like Dragon Khan or Shambhala's restraint system and they're excellent, so comfortable, like no head banging or anything. Also you have to look at how old the ride is. That unfortunately age does play a huge part in whether or not a ride is rough or smooth, has a rattle, anything. So a lot of older rides are considered a lot worse compared to their newer counterparts. Oddly, I think if a ride is wooden it's more likely to be rough and uncomfortable. That's not to say wooden roller coasters are worse. I'm just literally giving an example. Whereas smooth roller coasters tend to be steel. So obviously we have awful restraints, which are uncomfortable, painful. The ride not being smooth, which is uncomfortable and painful. Poor restraints obviously lead to headbanging and such, or various pains on your thighs. It's a poorly padded car seat that leads to pains in your legs. So pretty much if a ride is uncomfortable or painful, it's considered really bad. But then if you add it short, has a lack of capacity, maybe a lack of theming as well to make up for it. It's old, it pretty much isn't very well maintained, maybe it also breaks down all the time as well. So it's just G-Force So yeah, I don't like G-Force, in case people watching this video haven't worked out. It's probably one of the worst roller coasters I've ever ridden. But they're the things which typically make a roller coaster really bad. It's like, if you see one of a short, uncomfortable looking roller coaster with rubbish restraints, please don't ride it, even if it is worth for the credit. Just give it a miss. You know, I'd highly recommend avoiding G-Force at Drayton Manor. It's not worth riding. I kid you not, Ben 10 is miles better. Right, hopefully you guys enjoyed this quite cheeky and fairly funny little video on theme parks and roller coasters which are rubbish. If you have any example of awful roller coasters, please leave them in the video just below. But like, comment and subscribe, and please follow me. This has been Theme Park Information, signing out.